Who knows? Does anybody else have any questions? We have, Jim?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, one of the strengths of, I think, of our tourism is that it's spread out, and I look at our own county, say that there's many different groups, and they may be set up at Dalkeith or Maxwell or Williamstown or Banesville, and to get them to travel 45 minutes or an hour to a center, I think you're really looking at maybe some regional committee that comes together, but you really have to go back out and keep that spread around. If you're going to expect them to develop them further, I think one thing we're a bit lacking is the expertise and the organization, and we need that, but I don't think necessarily want to bring everybody to one center, because that'll possibly be the undoing of it. I think one of our strengths is that we are spread out, and we have a very diverse geography here, and we'd like to develop it as a diverse geography.
Again, it's another very good observation for us. I think, when it comes to the programming side, whether, I'm not going to use the analogy of the mobile library that you see in big places like Ottawa, where they have a huge municipality, much of it rural. But, if that challenge of building a regional centre somewhere central, or wherever it is going to create a drop-off of participation by people because it doesn't serve their needs, then I think that's a challenge for the program of that kind of facility, and perhaps it's a funding challenge to the existing facilities. Remember that in our recommendations, it wasn't just a shiny new facility, one way or the other. It was preservation of the existing, better use of the existing, better access of the existing. Along with that is I think, a programming mandate to ensure that you do meet needs on a local basis as well.
Two more questions.
I was wondering how much attention was being paid to web-based, I guess you could call it, understanding and connecting, and I mean, if we're all in a tight situation financially now, it seems like government is cutting back a lot of things. A web-based cultural center with everybody from everywhere advertising all their wonderful attributes. Was that a major consideration in what you put together?
Thanks for the question. We certainly heard that in a couple of our meetings, that that kind of centralized online web focus might be a good idea. And I think it's fair to say that it's being done already in terms of a number of the organizations and individuals getting involved. I think, again, like any modern strategy, there is an interactive, web-based, internet-based approach to the delivery of these services. So just as you do see the library systems changing all over the world, and they're no longer places where you go and pick up a book, but they're portals to a whole host of services. I think that can be part of it. But I think having an actual facility where you can, particularly a culture where you need to show something for it. You need to actually have that tactile relationship with culture. I think more than perhaps anything else, it needs to come off the computer screen and onto the stage. So the answer is yes. We certainly heard that, and we certainly agree with the role of the web right off the bat. But should there be a need for the interaction that you get in a cultural centre, I think we also heard that as well, that people want that space.
Now I'm going to ask John to use his memory to be able to retain the two questions that are going to be asked of him, and then we'll wrap it up.
Hi, I just have a process question. I'm curious if you've done consultancies like this in other communities, and if the level of participation is similar to what you've seen in other communities. Are we, 173 participants at the public consultations? You said you had a feedback of about 100 on the survey. How does this compare? Is this high, low, about average?
Good afternoon, I'm Mary Morel. I see something where it says a need to create a directory of artists and artisans. What I would like to offer to the people now is that on the Parade of Nations website, we have 500 people that are artists, artisans, writers, performers of all kinds of Aquasesne, Cornwall, and sd&g, both in official languages. I'm offering this to you.
Thank you. I'll just answer the second question first. That's very generous, and we would certainly like to take advantage of the information. And one of the things coming out from the GIS mapping is that the Parade of Nations database, I think it needs to be cross-referenced to make sure we have everyone on board. So thank you again. The first question is, how are we doing on the consultation? Well, I have another job in Halifax where we're doing a feasibility study for building a new soccer stadium, and we had 8 people turn up for a major public consultation. We actually had about 60 odd people. What I can tell you is 173 people over as many meetings as we had is not a huge number. Because we have meetings in every single community. In Cornwall, we had about 50 people. In some sessions, we had as few as half a dozen. Personally, in these kinds of projects and other projects that I've been involved in, if you get around 20 people to a meeting, you can have a decent conversation. There is no standard. That's the message. What you do often find is that it's the results of what you do that bring people out, as opposed to some of the fact finding. So, in answer to your question, was I concerned about the level of participation? No, because the other alternative is a public household telephone survey that might be done, and they only go to about 400 or 500 people. The last point I would just say is that the advertising schedule that we had for those meetings was pretty robust, and it was in all forms of communication. So it is what it is. I'm very happy with it, and I think our colleagues are. But we had additional consultations really throughout the whole process. It was an open door.
Thank you, John. Ladies and gentlemen, as Mayor of the Eastern Ontario Training Board, at this point in time, what we end up doing is turning this whole report over to the municipalities. It will become something that will be presented to each one of the municipalities. And I want to especially again thank Agaretta and the Ministry of Culture for coming forward as the key funding partner for this initiative. And I want to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending today and having the patience to listen to all of the stuff that has to be said. And if you go, again, I'll say it, sdgculture.ca, you will find the report tomorrow morning. There's some information on the corner as well. I want to thank the press for being here. Mesdames et messieurs, je vous remercie tout le monde d'être ici aujourd'hui. Et puis j'espère que dans les prochaines semaines, ce qui va se passer, ça va être des aventures pour tout le monde quand on va commencer à faire avancer ce projet-là dans toutes nos communautés de sd&g. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for today, and we look forward to working with you tomorrow.